I'm Rod Strickland, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I just have something I want to get off my chest. Of course, something's going through my brain. I'm watching the coverage of these California wildfires, and they keep talking about DEI, DEI, DEI. Man, this is a globalist plot. Let's just get this out of the way. And I'm going to do a video probably someday this week, and I'm going to talk about the wildfire, so I don't want to get into it too much. This is a globalist plot. But I am sick and tired of hearing people on the right talking about DEI when I do kind of understand exactly what the plot and the plan is. We're not going to act like, black people run anything. We don't run anything. We don't even run our own communities. We don't run anything. Like, if you can't see the play that they've been running, or you can't see the play, see, as a black man, you kind of understand a lot of this stuff because you live in this ecosystem where you've been watching them run this play forever, your entire life. And now they're starting to point a lot of this stuff out. And it's just amazing to watch other people try to blame everything that's happening on DEI. Basically, when they say DEI, they're just pointing the finger at black people. And that's because of the left and the right, who are full of globalists. This has been a plan for a while. Like, don't sit here and tell me that the people up top who are not black, who always pick out some incompetent black woman or some incompetent white woman or some incompetent transgender lesbian type and put them in a position of power and control, and they sit back and watch them mismanage it and watch all the fallout and wait for people on the right to start talking about DEI, pointing the finger at DEI. And when they do that, it's code word for black people. No, it's black people. Now, I've seen like Boeing start to have all these problems and they blamed it on DEI. And let me just say this as someone who's worked in the aerospace industry, just because you have black people working in the factory, it's not really their fault. If you think all of a sudden that black people are in there halfway torquing wrenches and eyeballing and ninja rigging stuff on an airplane, and you got inspectors. I've worked in aerospace. You've got these tight windows, but when you do certain things, you got to tighten this bolt to this specification, to this torque. You got to put this in, put that in. Then the inspector has to come over and check everything, make sure it's the specifications, and they sign off. If they're signing off on things that are not at specification, it's because this came from way up high, from other people telling them, hey, let this stuff go. We're going to let it go. And you wondering why somebody should blow the whistle. Oh, you mean so they can end up dead like something like the guy, and I think it was South Carolina. They found in some truck with his head blown off. He had made some video where he said he was not suicidal. And case closed. He was supposed to testify the next day. Case closed, it was suicide. And you wondering why nobody's going to blow the whistle. Get out of here with that nonsense. But it's the black people, it's DEI. In California, yeah, you have a lot of incompetent people in certain positions, but ask yourself, who put them there? If they were incompetent, how did they get there? Black people didn't put them there because we don't run anything. It's the same group of people who've ran everything for the last 1,000 years in this country. Since this country has come into existence, it's the same group of people, right? Same group of people behind the scenes, pulling the strings, running everything. So I don't understand why you have all these people on the right, screaming DEI. Why aren't you pointing your finger at the people who look just like you behind the scenes, BlackRock, these CEOs, these large corporations, and all these other people high up in the government, not the people who were appointed, the DEI hires, the people who are really pulling the strings, the people at the Federal Reserve, all these people that are manipulating everything, and you're talking about DEI. No, it's like when you've got a ship that's being steered to an iceberg. It's being steered to an iceberg. They'll tell you a big ship doesn't turn on a dime. So they turned the ship. It took them all this time to turn the ship into the iceberg. You know, they get 100 feet from the iceberg and the captain bails out. He makes this black person the captain. He bails out and leaves. So when the ship hits the iceberg, it's the black guy. It's him. It's his fault. How did he go from being the cook to the captain? It's DEI. No, the captain, the guy before him steered it into the iceberg, but you want to point at the black guy. You know, it's like when they exported all of the manufacturing jobs and talked about a service economy. I knew that was bullshit. A lot of people knew that was bullshit, and we talked about it. You know, but in the mainstream media, they touted it's going to be great. You're going to save all this money by exporting the jobs to China, and then you can buy all the same stuff at Walmart. You might not have a job, but you can buy, you know, a $20 t-shirt. You can now buy it for $15 at Walmart. You're going to save so much money. How'd that work out for you? Was that DEI as well? Like all these things that have been going on, how they took all of the money and they've been shipping it out all of, it's not just this administration, this criminal administration that's been pointed out for so much. It's not the criminal organization that is this administration that stole the election that you weren't allowed to talk about. And I'm going to do a video about that. You know, I got a lot of videos that are coming. But this has been going on for the past 50 years that I can look at and know that I've seen with my own eyes and watched and understood. Why would they do that? Something's not right. You know, when you get a certain age and you start reading books and you get around some people who are awake, not woke, they're awake, they start schooling you on things, and it's just like the Matrix. All of a sudden you wake up and you everywhere you look, you start to see the telltale signs, you know, that everything's rigged. You start to understand it, and you start to understand how, and you understand that these people are running everything from the same playbook, and it's the same plays over and over and over and over again. You know, I watched something with Steve Bannon. I think Steve Bannon is doing all right work. There are some people in the black spaces, they don't like Steve Bannon. They say he's a racist, whatever. He's America for Americans. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire on that, Steve Bannon. You know, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire on that, because he talked about how these H-1B visas, they're taking jobs from Americans, white people and black people. Cool. Then he started talking about, since they took opportunities from these people, they should be entitled to reparations. Now, you know, when you start talking about reparations, I don't get how you can sit here and on one side of your mouth, you talk about how they took opportunities from a group of people and they're entitled to reparations, but on the other side, like black people had all kinds of opportunities stolen from them systematically with the government and corporations, you know, doing this thing together, and it's all documented. And when black people start talking about reparations for black people who can trace their lineage back to slavery, no one wants to talk about it. You're told to be quiet, let it go. Why are you still whining? When they had you in the movies looking like criminals all these years, you're whining. You know, when they showed that it was all these black men, all black men were bum making babies, they don't want families, they're not taking care of their kids, you know, the data says otherwise, but when you tried to say something, you were told to stop whining. When they put their little people with deals like Oprah Winfrey and Steve Harvey, they put all these people up, Ricky Smiley, the list goes on and on and on, and they continue the talking points of the globalists to talk down black people. You're told to be quiet, it doesn't matter. They pick your representation for you. So when it was DEI in that form, you were told to be quiet. But if you want to know what's in store for the white community, just look at the black community. See, the one great thing I can say is there's a lot of, you see now with the internet, black people kind of have a platform, even though they shadow ban you. See, a lot of you white men, you talk about that now. We've been enduring this, right? They took a lot of black women, a lot of feminists, put them in certain positions and let them talk down, gave them a soapbox in the media, and you didn't have any way to voice your opinion, and white America just rode along with it. You just rode along with it. But now that they're doing this to you, you all over the internet and everywhere else, and you upset about it, as rightfully you should be. You're rightfully upset about feminism. Believe all women, they're destroying America in general. But everything that they're destroying you with, they perfected in the black community. Now they brought it to you. If you want to see a way forward, one of the things you have to do is analyze the black community and figure out and understand this is what they did to them and try to head it off at the pass. Because they utterly destroyed the black community. And with a lot of black people, especially black men, figuring out what they need to do to move forward, there are a lot of different factions, and you can see it on the internet, that don't necessarily agree with each other, figuring out ways to move forward, and they're moving forward. And I don't have a problem with that. Some people get upset because these people aren't, these guys are passport bros, they doing it this way, they shouldn't do it that way. You got these people over here like, we gonna try to get reparations, this is where it's at. You have these other people saying, hey, it's this way and this is where it's at. I don't have a problem with any of those movements. Because eventually, like the ones that work, they're gonna move forward, and eventually they're gonna come back together. That's how it works. We finally kind of got our own media here with YouTube and some on social media, and they're talking about a lot of the people are now talking about free speech when we didn't have it. You got to choose our leaders. You got to choose who got to talk. The people who got to talk, they had deals, and they're going to say what you want them to say because it works out for you. Some old DEI nonsense. You could always point to these DEI hires, these DEI, the most incompetent reprobates you could find from the black community. You would elevate them and put them on a pedestal and say, see, black people, you can do good too. Just be like this guy. Look how hard he worked. You mean like Joy Taylor, how hard she worked? How hard she worked? I keep telling you, check the video out about it's coming, about how people who have deals, you can't trust them. You can't trust them. So now that they have all these people in all these positions that they put there, and they are failing spectacularly, they start hollering DI, look at this person, look at that person. They're not qualified. Of course they're not qualified. But it's a black face. And it makes it even nice. It makes it sweet. It makes it sweet. But let's just understand this. You have to ask yourself, who's pulling the strings? Who's pulling the strings? Who's been pulling the strings? It's not us. There's nobody that looks like me. People talk about Obama. Obama, well, he got in the White House. Man, he was a DEI guy from the start. That was a plot, a plan, some communist infiltration. This guy, his history was obfuscated and hidden from everybody, and the mainstream media didn't want to talk about it because they were all bought and paid for. Just like during COVID, he was another DEI guy who helped steer the ship into the iceberg. And we've now hit the iceberg. It's going down. And everybody is all of a sudden noticing what's going on. But you're not watching this. You're watching this hand, not that hand. This hand are the people who are pulling the strings, and you need to pay attention to them. Right? They put a bunch of these certain faces all in the lead at the last minute, put them in leadership positions, just so you look over here. You pay attention over there. No, it's the same people pulling the strings. The same people who run Tyranny Inc., these same globalists. Don't be fooled by DEI, because trust and believe, we don't run anything. We don't even run our own communities. But a lot of that needs to change, and it's changing right now, and that's what we're working on. It's your man, Rod Strickland. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.